On today's episode of Tackle Talk, I'm going to answer some of your questions. Hello folks, and welcome back, and today is the long-anticipated Q&A. Well, I've been longly anticipating it. I don't know about you. Today we're going to be answering some of your questions via YouTube comments. I made a video a while ago asking you guys to ask some questions, and I got quite a bit of questions. So we're going to be answering some of those today. If your question is not read on this show, or if you have a question, leave it in the comment section of this one, and I will answer it in an upcoming Q&A. So let's get started. First question comes from Q Eisman Fishing. I probably did not pronounce that right, but he asks, how would you fish a lake with a small population of bass? Great question. This is very difficult because with a small population of bass, you're going to have to fish a lot harder and a lot longer to find them. But what I would do, I would go to the lake and I would sit there and I would study it for a little bit and try and pick apart the areas where you're going to find bass. Now, what I mean by that is you're going to look around, you're going to say, okay, I got a low-hanging tree limb here, I got a weed bed here, I got a dock here, got a rocky shoreline here. Find the areas where bass are most likely to be, and that's going to eliminate a lot of dead water. Then I would go through and very thoroughly fish those areas. And another thing that would help is just go to the pond and fish it a couple times. That's really going to help you kind of get an idea of what the bass are doing in that pond. All right, next question comes from Kalico707. He asks, any plans on entering a tournament? Another great question. You know, as a kid, I always thought I would be a professional bass fisherman and fish tournaments for a living, but I don't know if I'll do that. I definitely want to fish some tournaments in my upcoming years. I don't know if I have really any plans for this year. Maybe I'll be able to fish one this year, but I'm not one of those hardcore tournament dudes who's like, I gotta fish the tournaments. I'm sure I will fish a tournament in the near future, but for right now, it's not really my biggest goal, so to speak. This one comes from Jason Natsuviks. Okay, I can't pronounce his name. I'm just going to put it on the screen so you can see it. It comes from this dude, and he asks, what pound line would you say is the best for a spinning rod and a baitcaster reel largemouth bass? Okay, so the two types of line I use are 8-pound test for spinning reel, 10-pound test for baitcaster. These are really the staples that I've used over the past couple of years, and they've never failed me. I like fishing 8-pound test on a spinning rod just because I'll be throwing usually lighter baits on a spinning rod and be able to cast this a lot farther. That's why I use 8-pound test on a spinning rod. For a baitcaster, 10-pound test is pretty much the perfect line. It's very strong, casts far, you can cast big lures with it. So those are the two lines I'd recommend. You know, you can go higher like 12 and 15, but if you're really not fishing that heavy cover, like I don't fish a lot of like super big weed beds or anything like that, that'll work just fine. All right, tea break. Made this. It's good. Next question comes from Bassmaster, and he says, what do you think is the best rod for throwing a swim jig? Love your videos. Well, thank you for loving my videos. I really appreciate that. As far as the best rod goes for throwing a swim jig, I would say probably something with something medium action to heavy action. You know, I actually have a medium action rod here. It's a medium light, I think, and I took it out swim jig fishing, and I don't think it was heavy enough to get the fish. I lost quite a bit of fish. In fact, I was filming the crushing bass of the swim jig. I actually lost quite a bit of fish doing that video because I couldn't hook them because the rod's a little too soft. So I'd recommend something on the heavier side of things, something with some backbone that allows you to really sink that hook into that fish. Next question comes from Zane Smith. He asks, what is your favorite species to catch? Oh, man, it's hard. It's kind of a toss-up. I like to catch largemouth bass a lot. That's what I catch the most of. But I think probably my favorite species would actually be walleye. Love to catch walleye. One of my siblings was screaming down there. Is he okay? Yeah, he's fine. He's okay. Anyway, I love to catch walleye because it requires a lot of patience and finesse. That's probably one of my favorite species to catch. All right, next question comes from T West Outdoors, and he asks, what do you say when you break a rod? Okay, if you probably don't get this question. If you go back and watch my last video, which was how to fish a drop shot, you see I lost a fish in there, and I just went like that. I made a bunch of noises. I didn't, and I was like, since I I don't believe in cursing, so I got to get creative when something happens. That's true. I'm a Christian. I do not believe in cursing. So when I break a rod, man, what do I say? I don't know. I actually just broke a rod.
You grunt.
My cameraman said they just go like that. That's probably true. You can get creative. You can make up some words like baby hippos or something like that. So, yeah. Jason okay, I can't pronounce his name. I'm gonna put up on the screen again. I'm sorry. Sorry about that. He says, what name? What state do you live in, and what's your area like? Well, I live currently in Ohio, and the area is kind of hilly. It's got some farmland. I live kind of in the country, not quite in the country, but I'm actually moving to a place in the country. I'd say it's kind of rolling green hills and some flat areas, but I like it here. It's nice. I do like myself Ohio. All right, let's see what else we got here. So Jason S. Nazovitsky. Is that your name? Probably not. He's probably hitting his computer right now. He's so mad. I'll put the name up there so you can read it correctly. He asked, do you have any giveaway plans? Okay, I really don't have any giveaway plans, and I'm gonna kind of tell you why. I believe that a lot of times people who do giveaways are just trying to get subscribers. Now, I've personally seen channels that do a lot of giveaways, and they'll be like, you have to subscribe, you have to comment, all that stuff. And I've actually entered these giveaways. I'll be like, okay, I'm subscribing. So I click the subscribe button, hopefully I win. And they're like, check out my other videos. I go check out their other videos. I don't like them. I never check their page again. I just subscribe, and when the contest's over, I'll usually unsubscribe or never check their page again. That is a problem I see with giveaways. Now, I'm not saying, a giveaway here and there is not a wrong thing. I personally don't think. I want people to subscribe to my channel because they legitimately love my content, not just to get free stuff. So that's kind of my take on giveaways. Not saying I will never do a giveaway, but for right now, I really don't have any plans for it. Jason Nazvuditsky. I'm so sorry. I'm butchering your name. I'll put it up on the screen again. He says, you have a great channel, and I can see it's gaining popularity in the next few months. But it's getting a little repetitive. Do you have any new series or segments you're thinking of doing? So if so, what do you have in mind? Great question, by the way. I like when people give me this kind of thing because this lets me know what my channel is a little bit weak at. So let's say my videos are getting a little repetitive. Someone asks a question saying, someone leaves a comment saying, hey, your videos are getting a little repetitive, switch it up a little bit. That helps me make better decisions for the channel. As far as new segments that are coming up, yes, I have a new segment coming up. This is kind of I'll tell you some exclusive secrets. It is called the Lure Challenge. Now, what basically I'm going to do is take random everyday items and try to create a lure with them and take them fishing. Actually, I'm planning on shooting the first episode this week, and I'll give you a sneak peek. We're going to try and catch fish with toilet paper. So it's going to be very, very exciting to do that. Something a little bit different you haven't really heard of, but hopefully that'll be a fun series to do. Also, I got other plans for stuff in the future. Not saying it'll all work out, but yeah, I do have plans for upcoming stuff. Let me look here. What are your favorite brands? By the same Jason Nazvu. That guy. So my favorite fishing brands, I'm kind of a stickler actually for about 3 brands as far as lures go. I love Yum Baits, Trigger X Baits, love those, and Strike King. Those are probably the 3 primary brands of fishing lures I use. Again, make great baits. So, but I'm kind of trying to open my world a little bit and try and explore some new stuff. But for now, those are probably my favorite brands are Yum, Trigger X, and Strike King. Jason Nazvuditsky, man, he left a lot of comments. He left like 16 questions. Sorry I can't answer them all. But there's another one for him. He says, how would you suggest fishing heavily weeded / covered areas with what baits and techniques would you use? Okay, so for heavily weeded areas, it's always a struggle for me. There's my neighbor. He's unloading plants. Hi, neighbor. Anyway, what techniques and lures would I use? So weeds for me are always kind of a struggle, especially like topwater floating mats. I would recommend throwing, like the weedless frogs, the slop hopper, Trigger X slop hopper. If you don't know what that is, it's really cool. It's a swim bait that kind of flops on the surface of the water. It's really, really good. Let's see what else. If you're gonna go kind of subsurface, I would recommend punching mats, getting a big weight and a nice lure, heavy line, punching it through those mats. My cameraman says he likes brush hogs for punching mats. So yeah, those are some things you do. I'm trying to think what else you could do in heavily weeded areas. You could throw swim jigs. You know, you probably can't really throw like crankbaits as much unless the grass is lower in the water. But yeah, those are some of the techniques that I would use. So guys, thanks you for joining me on this Q&A adventure. If you have any more questions, remember, leave them in the comments section below, and I will get to them in a future Q&A. And as always, thanks for watching.